Welcome back to the Gone for 10 show. One team got absolutely battered left, right, and centre. A few high shots, a suspension, while the Sharks obviously had a grueling 92-minute clash versus the Cowboys. The team list is up there. It's unchanged. It's Will Kennedy, Connor Tracy, Jesse Ramian, Talakai, Ronaldo Militano, Matt Moylan, Nico Hines, Toby Rudolph, Blake Brayley, Royce Hunt, Britton Nakora, Wade Graham, Dale Finucane, Tyg Wilton, Cameron McGuinness, Braden Hamlin, Ueli, Andrew Fafita win what could be his last Sharks game, and obviously number 18, Lachlan Miller. I'll throw it to you. Talk me through this South lineup.
You got Latrell Milkman at fullback. You got Alex Johnson and Tane Milner in the wing position. You got Isaiah Tass and Campbell Graham, the serial killer, in the centres. You got Cody Walker and Lachlan Ilias in the halves. You got Tavita Totola and Mark Nichols to make the forward pack. You got David Cook to make the hooker role. You got KK and Jai Arrow to make second row. Cameron Murray to round out the lock position. You got Cody Nikorima, Hammer SA, Michael CK on the bench, and Sivi Halevi on the bench as well, with Davey Mole to make the 18th jersey, which I wouldn't be surprised if Blake Taff makes a rare surprise in the 18th role. He's named at 19th jersey at the moment, but don't be surprised if he shows up.
Well, obviously, yeah, like you just said, Dan, he actually was named in the 18 jersey last week. He's in the 19 jersey this week. So, and like I've always said, even 1 through 17, it means nothing because you can make as many changes as you want before, obviously, the lineups get locked out. But obviously, talking about the Sharks, Craig Fitzgibbon has named the same 1 to 17 that did battle it out for that 93 minutes against the Cowboys. For Nukin, again, this is, I guess, my complaint with the committee. He was charged with a crusher. He got away with a fine. A crusher has been a suspension all year. So figure that one out. Lachlan Miller is the 18th man. Now, I know there is a lot of Sharks fans that would prefer to obviously have Miller at fullback, but unfortunately, he's not there. They've got to deal with it. From a Rabbitohs perspective, Thomas Burgess has the 2-game ban for the careless high tackle, meaning he only plays again if they make the grand final, which they're going to struggle without him here. They're going to struggle if they get to Penrith, but we'll see how it goes. His place on the bench is taken by Michael Cheekham, and obviously, like we said, Blake Taff and Jackson Polo are both listed amongst the reserves, with Davey Moali obviously playing in the 18th man. Wow, they've just called in the Sharks. They've played a 92nd minute game. The Rabbitohs have played a game that probably felt like 120 minutes, obviously, on Sunday. The last time these two teams faced, it did go to Golden Point. And it's that man on the left. I almost want to say that is the photo from the celebration when he did sink the Rabbitohs back in the normal rounds with the field goal. So they've been there before. They've battled it out. Who do you think takes this game? And I guess who are the talking points here now? I'm going to bring my attention to Cameron Murray. We'll talk about it a bit later, but just remind me if I forget, I want to talk to you about Cameron Murray. Who do you think takes out this game?
This game's going to be cracker. The only problem I have with it is at Allianz Stadium. I think they should be playing out of Bankwest, since that no team is allowed to have home semi-final from now on in. I just don't think it should be right that the Parramatta Eels get to play at CommBank at their home. I think they should be playing at Allianz, and Cronulla and South should be playing out at Parramatta so that no one has home ground advantage there. Same for that. Cowboys, when we play next week, put us at Suncorp. It feels like we're a Queensland team, so we should play at the home at Queensland. So put us there if you want. But other than that, this is going to be a cracking game. I will side with Cronulla here. I think that they will get on top of this South side. Cronulla didn't really come out of this game battered and bruised. They just were feeling a little bit depleted that they put on 30 points and still lost the game. I think there was moments where they could have took real control of that game and shut us out, but errors and upon errors again brought us back into a game and we made them pay. I believe Will Kennedy is the best fullback for the Sharks. Lachlan Miller may have to sit on the sidelines or wing position and learn under the apprenticeship of Will Kennedy. Cameron Murray, what's your talking point about him? Because what a competitor, but man, oh man, him and getting knocked out are going hand in hand lately.
Well, that's kind of what I want to bring up to you. Obviously, there was speculation that he was going to miss the game last week. We obviously saw the knockout he copped against the Roosters in round 25. Take it aside, the doctors ruled him clear to play. He goes into a tackle with Hargraves. He's absolutely stunned. He's using his hand to balance, and he doesn't have to go for a HIA. And that would be his fourth HIA of the year. It would rule him out for the rest of the season. They say there's a random South fan at every single stadium. Is there a random South fan at the independent doctor? Because how the hell does this guy keep playing when he's copped, 3 head knocks in the last 8-9 weeks?
This is where I go back to. Everybody's talking about having a 10-day sort of sit-out policy if you get knocked out. I think it should be a little bit more. It doesn't matter if you get knocked out in minute 1 versus minute 80. I believe that you should be stood down for 2 weeks. So next year, if you're knocked down in the first round, you're not coming back until round 4. That's just my opinion. 2 weeks should be long enough, at the minimum. I know other codes around the world are longer. Boxing, if you get knocked out in any fight, it's a 3-month wait. The NFL, the NFL. You just got to look at the NFL with their concussion protocols because they're at a higher velocity impact. They're a higher velocity impact sport, and they're sitting up for 2 weeks. Yes, they've got the helmets. Yes, they've got the shoulder pads, but the human brain isn't designed to take shots after shots like that. And I do think he got away with one against the Roosters. The image of Jared sort of bending down and just stalking him like a prey. And the meme is he's doing that this week. Next week he's on the couch watching South play Cronulla. So it is quite funny to see that. But I just don't. Is it me or is it in the game of rugby league? Are we seeing more and more HIAs appearing out of nowhere? Like, are we seeing more people getting concussed from wrong tackling techniques to just head slams or anything? Like, what's the path we need, or we as the NRL community and the governing board of the body of and the NRL need to go down to keep these players safe for long term and to keeping these superstars on the field healthy, ready to go each week?
Well, I will answer that, but first, obviously, you did bring up boxing the 3 months now. Again, that's a bit extreme because no one gets punched in the head repeatedly unless you're playing the Roosters and the Rabbitohs in a first-round semi-final. Now, maybe that needs about 3 months to recover from those. But obviously, to your question, it is a tough one now. We were told, we saw it Magic Round 2 years ago. They really said, we're going to cut out any contact to the head. There was about 25 sin bins in one weekend.
That's great.
Fast forward a little bit, we then came in and said, oh shit, we've told him to go too low. You're suspended for a crusher. Now, I think for me, how are you going to take care of it? We don't want people attacking the legs. We don't want people having snap legs like Jackson Hastings faced from Carrigan. We don't want people getting knocked out. I think what you need to do is say, if you get a crusher, if you hit someone high in the head, it's a minimum of 5 weeks. Don't care if it's your first charge, if it's your second charge, if it's your third charge, it's a minimum of 5 weeks. Now, it's up to the coaches, it's up to the assistant coaches, it's up to the players to get the technique right so they are hitting people in the chest, not too high, not too low. As for the crushers, my next point, and I'll ask you obviously because there was a crusher in your game, it wasn't awarded a penalty. He was later charged, which probably would have marched the Cowboys upfield and won you the game.
Yeah.
It's a simple rule. For me, 2 people hit the tackle. The third person can come in. they can't go to the floor. Simple as that. There's no crusher tackle. But talk to me, obviously, your thoughts, obviously, on, I guess, what I just said about the head injuries, and then your thought on how we fix the crusher tackle at the same time.
The crusher tackle is a really weird one here because but let's look at it. So let's just say the Sharks kick down and Scotty Drinkwater picks it up. For him not to lose momentum, he basically has to sort of turn, like the way it is now, they turn their back and they sort of give up, and that's held. Now, what's stopping a player just going over the top of the back of the net, which is the crusher move, and slamming down? Well, that's on the other player for putting his body in that position. But again, he loses if he was to stay upright and pace forwarding. There's nothing stopping the Cronulla players. I'm just using Cronulla as an example. I'm not pointing them out as being this grubby team. But
you're all a bunch of grubs. You heard it here first. Baxter's called you all a bunch of grubs.
I didn't. I didn't. I'm just using you as an example because you played on the weekend. But what's stopping them, the Sharks players, for just picking up Drinkwater and dragging him back 20 meters while they're face to face? That one's a really hard one under that sort of situation because a player, you see it from team to team. A player just goes in sort of side on or the back, and then they just sort of collapse, and then the defending team sort of goes over the top, and then it gives away a crusher. I think that needs to be more discretionary instead of more consistent. Just due to the fact of, let's just review the play. Like, what led up to that? Was it the defending player's fault? No, because the attacking team put themselves in an awkward position, and what's he supposed to do? You could look down there, or blanket rule. Yeah, as you said, 5 weeks minimum. It stops any bad tackling techniques happening. It's one of the NRL need to sort of sort out and bring it out into the new year.
Before we do get too far off track, because we already have, I will say about the players running in sidewards, backwards. Like you said, we have seen, I want to say, almost triple the concussions this year than what I've seen in previous years. So if I'm scared I'm going to get hit in the head, you know what? I'm probably turning my back and running backwards into a tackle so I don't get smacked across the head and be out for 6 months if you're a boxer like Baxter wants you out for. But obviously, to get back on topic, it is the Cronulla Sharks taking on South Sydney. I believe you said Cronulla Sharks, was it 1 to 12, 13 plus? Less than that, more than that?
Nah, it's going to be 1 to 6, Cronulla.
Now, this might come as a shock. My heart right now is saying up Cronulla, the boys in the blue and the black, or however that team song goes. But I think if I'm going with my head right here, I think the form Latrell is in, the form Cody Walker is in, Damien Cook, Cameron Murray, I think South Sydney get through this game 1 to 12. They go to Penrith. They lose to Penrith, which we'll talk about next week, or Penrith Stadium.
Clip it.
Oh, clip it. I genuinely think that they're going to get this win. They will lose to Penrith, and it will be a Penrith versus Cowboys final. But obviously, we will talk about that, obviously, next week once we see what comes out. Again, Nico, mate, you're pointing to the sky. I'm praying for you to pull off the upset, pull up the win. Baxter, before we wrap up, do you have any closing comments, talking points before we wrap up the show?
Nah, I just want to see all 4 teams come out battered and bruised.
I mean, that's a fair response. I think if the Roosters were playing, I was thinking the same. I'm going to bring up one controversial topic. I will bring us onto full screen because it doesn't require, it's not about the NRL. It's about the NRLW. It's about Caitlin Moran, the Newcastle Knights player, who is in a bit of strife given what she said about the Queen. She's come out, I don't like to say it, but she's played the race card to try and kind of get away with it. As of 2 hours ago, she was hit with a breach notice. She does have 5 days to respond to that. The breach notice was a fine equivalent up to 25% of her current NRLW contract, as well as a 1-match suspension. Now, again, she put this bin up. She played on the weekend. That's the first mistake by the NRL. The second one, this fine, as long as she doesn't reoffend in the next 12 months, and she does, I think it's A, B, and C, whatever they're going to list out for her, she loses no money. She doesn't cop a fine. Now, the 1-week suspension, it's suspended for 12 months. So as long as she doesn't reoccur in the next 12 months, nothing happens. So I'm not going to throw out the exact comments that she did say, but it was definitely a bit harsh, obviously, towards the royal family.
Let's get it up for exactly what she said, because I actually don't know what she said exactly. I've heard other people in other media professions. I'm going to ramble on to let you bring it up. There was another person who was black descent who put up about, that sort of was about the slavery and something. He got stood down from his position in his field of sport. Look, do you have it here?
No, I'll paraphrase because I remember most of it off the top of my head.
Okay.
It was along the lines of, obviously, Uncle Luke is coming out. Obviously, the big countryman is coming out to perform in Australia. So it was Uncle Luke's coming out, and this dumb dog has passed away and is dead. So along those lines, those were the comments, and she finished with, "What a great fucking day it's been." So it brings the game into disrepute. And again, if she doesn't reoffend, she's not getting punished. So what are your views on that? Because I reckon, and again, if this is Latrell Mitchell, I think he's gone for 5 to 6 weeks because the media blows it out of proportion. Do you think she should have played a day later against the Sydney Roosters? And do you think she deserves a punishment for this?
Hold on, let's just rewind a few weeks ago when you got Ricky Stewart, who called Salmon a weak-gutted dog. Yeah, this girl basically just applauds that this person is dead. And rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth II. Loved you to death. I loved you on the back of our coins. Great to see you there. I've still got some of the 20.
I've got the quote. I've got the quote for you back, so I've got the direct quote for you.
Here, let me get more.
Today is a good fucking day. Uncle Luke announces his tour and this dumb dog dies. Happy fucking Friday. She deleted it 8 hours after it was posted.
Oh my God. Oh. Well, my thoughts are to Harry, Meghan, Kate, and Will, and to Charles, our new king to be. I don't think that is right to say about anybody, regardless of what position of power they were in or where they stood in society. Someone's lost a mother, someone's lost a grandmother, someone's lost, a sister, an aunt. Just pay your respects to her. So what if she was, so what if she was Queen of England? So what if she was just average Mrs. Joe Blow down the street? You don't say that about anybody, pay your respects. Sometimes it's better to leave things off the social media. If you think about them in your own head, fine, they can stay there, but you don't need to post it out there. But for the NRL, and yet again, this is another case basket, to let her play the next day against the Sydney Roosters I think is a big no-no. Then to say you have a 25% salary payment, deduction payment as a fine, and a 1 match suspension. But if you don't do anything if you don't get reoffend in the next 12 months, that's nothing. Then she basically said what she wanted to and got away with it clean. So if that's the same for her, why didn't Ricky Stewart get no week off and was allowed to coach the next week? I just think the NRL is going down this soft wet blanket style now. You've seen it with the Tyler May, and we've now seen it, if it comes out with Jared serving one of the games against Leeds for the Kiwis, and now you got this. Look, everything comes in threes, and I hope the NRL give a good wake up to themselves, because I believe she should have paid that fine, that 25% of her salary as a fine, no matter what. And I think she should have been stood down for a number of games too, at the minimum.
Well, you know what?
It wasn't right. It wasn't right to say that.
We have a public holiday in 9 days, so we'll see if she wants to take that public holiday to mourn the Queen, or if she's going to go to work while the rest of us stay home. So we'll see how much she likes the Queen come the 22nd. But back on topic, we are here to talk about, obviously, the NRL. We did get a bit off topic. I thought we brought it up. It's a massive talking point in the media. Obviously, like we said, we've wrapped up week 1. Week 2, we both have the Raiders going through. Week 2, you have the Sharks winning. I have the Rabbits winning. Someone's going to be ahead come the end of that round. But, mate, thank you for joining me. And obviously, we'll talk soon regarding who is facing who in the prelim. But, guys, stay tuned. Hit like, hit subscribe. Turn on notification, because there's a few great ideas we have coming up. Dally M predictions, Australian squad predictions, World Cup winners, losers, shocks, dark horses. We're going to be talking all about that next week. So
we're going to be reviewing yours and Larry's ladder prediction at the start of the year. We'll see who got it right. We'll see who got it right.
I think we both had a shocker, but let's just say I'm quietly confident. Thank you to my Knights tip that I'm a bit closer come this ladder. But yes, we will be reviewing those. We will try and get Larry on as a third person when we do go over that. But Baxter, thank you for joining me. We will be back next week to talk all things preliminary finals.
All right, see you then.